Hey everyone, welcome back. Rebecca Jean here with Style My Sweets. I had wisdom teeth out last week, so I was thinking what I could put together, and I'm a little behind on some of the projects that I want to get done. I want to get started on fall decor. Comment down below. Let me know, would you be ready to start seeing some fall DIYs? That's what I was thinking of starting pretty soon. Anyway, I finally got around to making this large wall art DIY piece. I found some stuff in Dollar Tree and I thought it would be really cool. And then I also wanted to put together some other wall art DIY pieces that are over the last couple of years, things that I've done that were really cheap, affordable wall decor pieces you can make using Dollar Tree supplies for things that are just a couple of dollars to make, up to the one I just made was like $20 or $21, I think. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with these wall art DIYs.
So for this one, you're going to need 16 of the square mirrors Dollar Tree sells. You can find them in with the candle holders. So here I'm putting 4 of them together to make a larger square, and I'm cutting a template out to measure that size on some poster board. You can actually skip that. You could just arrange them directly onto the foam board. I'm using a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree. You'll want to trace and cut out 4 squares of foam board. So use a pretty generous amount of hot glue now to glue the mirrors onto the foam board, and then we're going to attach it to the frame. For the frame, I've got 4 square wire wreath frames. I already spray painted these with some copper colored spray paint, but that's totally optional. You don't have to paint them, or you could use any paint that you want. The foam board piece with the 4 mirror panels on it, I turn them upside down on top of a bottle of paint or a cup, something like that, so they're a little bit elevated so that the wreath frame can lay down on the back of it and touch it. So we're going to go all the way around the edge now with a really generous amount of hot glue to connect them and fill in any gaps all the way around. You want to cover that whole wire edge so it's glued super securely onto the foam board, and then let that completely dry. So for mine, in a couple of the spots, the wire was like a little bent and it wasn't totally touching the back of that foam board. It was kind of raised up a little bit. So I just went back a couple of times to make sure that I could totally fill in the area with hot glue. So basically every single area of the wire is connected to the foam board with hot glue, even if the hot glue is, raised up a little bit. And it's a little thick. I had to fill in any gaps with the hot glue, but basically I want this super securely hot glued together. You definitely want this to hold, because we're going to be hanging it on a wall. Now I did this for all 4 panels, and now we can attach the 4 panels together. So I'm doing this on the diagonal. So this is going to hang from the top point. I hung it up on the wall, and then I'm using a heavy duty fishing line. I already had this, and it is a super heavy duty fishing line. I'll see if I can link the one that I'm using down below. I actually got it years ago for crafting, and it works great, but it's a very big roll actually. So it's lasted me for years and I still have a ton left. But basically I went around maybe 20 times, maybe more, I don't know, probably like 20 times with lots of knots. I just wanted to get this really, really tight and secure. And then we can tie the other 2 tiles now. Now that we have the second one hanging below the first one, you can do the other 2, one on the left, one on the right. So this is basically going to be these 4 tiles together now, and it's going to look like a large diamond shape basically. So I just used more fishing line and wove it back and forth around and around where these wires touch to keep everything in place. I kind of did like figure 8s around the wire to connect it here in between on the side panels, keep everything in place and lined up as neatly as possible that way. You could possibly even zip tie these together. I bet that would work, especially if you wanted to paint the zip tie the same color as the wire. But I really like the heavy duty fishing line because it's basically almost invisible. So like I said, I will try to link the one I'm using below if I can still find it, because I did buy it years ago. But anyway, this made a really cool mirror tile statement wall art decor piece. It's gotten many compliments when guests come over, and it's just a really cool neutral piece that could work with any decor. Now I needed a bunch of butterflies for this DIY. I'm just spray painting all of them gold, and I'm also using a small hula hoop from Dollar Tree, which I just peeled the wrapper off of first, and then I spray painted that gold as well. And then once everything is dry, I just used hot glue to arrange my butterflies along the edges in a cluster like this, attaching the wings of one to another and extending them into the center like this. You can do as few or as many as you like. I think I have about 18 butterflies on here right now. You could easily do 20, 30 butterflies, maybe even more if you want to make it a lot more full, which I think would be so pretty as well. For the next one, I took 6 picture frames from Dollar Tree and I placed a white piece of paper, or you could use cardstock paper, whatever you want for the inside. But first, I'm using these ferns from Dollar Tree. I picked up one of each of the bunches that they have, one of the ferns and one of these other little greens, and I'm just separating the longer and shorter pieces so that the frames will all be a little bit different and making little different arrangements in each one. I used a little hot glue on the corners of some of the pieces. It's not really necessary, but if they have little folds in them, you can use hot glue to just keep them in place on the paper, and then I put them in the frames. I also went ahead and snapped off the little back stand piece just so that there would be less bulk and I'd be able to make sure I glue these down. I'm going to be using hot glue in between the frames and also a little bit behind them to connect them all together, and then I'm also attaching them onto a piece of black foam board from Dollar Tree for a little extra support. You can use whatever glue you feel is best for this. I found this other frame in Dollar Tree as well, and I think it's another really great one for this DIY just because the edges are like a little bit more square and I think they line up a little bit more perfectly. However, I only found like 3 of these I think when I was in Dollar Tree, and if you were able to go ahead and order these online, you could get them in as well and do that. I didn't have time to get them in. I just needed to work with what I had, so I'm using this other style frame that I have a larger quantity of right now. And I thought this turned out kind of cool. For the next one, I took a hula hoop from Dollar Tree and wrapped it in burlap ribbon. The Dollar Tree rolls are 9 feet long, and you'll probably need 2 rolls of burlap ribbon to cover a medium-sized hula hoop. I just used hot glue to keep everything in place, and then I used 5 of the greenery vines from Dollar Tree and I wrapped them around the hula hoop. I couldn't find all of the same kind, so I think I ended up mixing 3 different styles together, and it still looks pretty good. You can't even tell. And then it's totally optional, but you could use some hot glue to attach a few flowers if you want as well. So I wanted to create a large piece of wall decor for the living room, and the wall is pretty big. I took the 2.5 packs of Popsicle Sticks that I already had laying around the house, although to be honest, 3 full packs should be perfect for this DIY. And basically, I'm just overlapping and connecting the popsicle sticks to create interlocking connected squares. Hot glue would probably work fine, but I am using wood glue since I have it. You don't really need a pattern to this, just do it however looks good to you, except when you get to the edges, I think it helps to have somewhat of a pattern a little bit so that one side doesn't look way different from the other side. I wanted them to be random but still keep an element of symmetry, if that makes sense. Once the glue is dry, I did think about painting this in black, but I opted for a hammered brown spray paint instead that I already had, and this is how it looks over here in this corner of the living room. This piece is about 3 feet tall by 3 feet wide, so it is a pretty good size. So honestly, a 3 foot by 3 foot piece of art, like 36 inches wide, and only for $3. I was shopping at Urban Outfitters, and I was just very inspired by the pattern of this wall art. So I took some of these jumbo craft sticks from Walmart and cut the ends off. Anyway, I grabbed some metallic copper chalk paint and painted the wood, and then once it was dry, I arranged the pieces in a pattern similar to the one from Urban Outfitters, and I just glued them onto an 11 by 14 canvas, also from Dollar Tree. I was super excited when I found these at Dollar Tree, and I bought a whole bunch of them. And keep in mind that you can always shop Dollar Tree's website and you can order directly to your home and get free shipping for in-store pickup. This is my favorite way to get certain items that they don't have in the store. So anyway, this is what it looks like now all framed, and I absolutely love how cool this looks using the 11 by 14 frame. Next is the hanging planter, which I thought we could use a hula hoop for, and you can get these in Dollar Tree right now during the spring and summer months, and then also you'll need a planter. By the way, I'm using the smallest hula hoop that they carry, but if you want to go with one of this larger planter here from Dollar Tree, I was thinking that you could drill 2 holes on either side. You could put the hula hoop through that and connect it. I was also thinking of what to do, like if you don't have a drill and you're like, well, Rebecca, I don't have a drill, I can't make this project. So what I came up with is you can take something like this little Easter basket that has the holes in it, and I just use some scissors. You could probably use a box cutter too. Just be really careful and cut out one little section, just enough that you can push the hula hoop ends through there to connect them in the middle, and then that's going to hold it. By the way, I did take off the outer wrapper of the hula hoop and empty the inside contents, and then I spray painted it metallic gold. You guys know I keep some of my favorite color spray paints on hand, like black, white, gold, which I always use for different projects. The bucket I sprayed white, and then once everything is dry, I added a styrofoam block to the inside of the basket, and then I reconnected the hula hoop through it. Dollar Tree has bunches of ferns as well, which would make a beautiful filler for this wall hanging decor. If you want to do a live plant though, you might need some extra strong glue to hold the hula hoop together, just to make sure that it's able to support the extra weight. But for something artificial like this, it's really pretty, super lightweight, and costs just a couple dollars to make.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed these wall art DIY pieces with Dollar Tree supplies. Let me know which one was your favorite, and if you'd want to see other types of wall art, or also are you guys ready to see fall decor? Comment down below and let me know, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing before you go. I would love to have you, and I will see you guys soon in the next one. Bye!